start again. It's a rich thing.
What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, our play-in tournament game against the Toronto Raptors is coming very, very quickly, and once again, we are in a one-and-done situation that could take our season to the next level, into the next round of the play-in tournament, or our season will be over and we can watch, I guess, as neutrals in the NBA playoffs, supporting whichever team you want to support, or again, you could just be bitter about it, not watch the playoffs at all, and just move on into the next season. Whatever the case may be, we have a big challenge ahead against the Toronto Raptors. And altogether, we've seen this Bulls team play the Toronto Raptors, I believe, 3 times this season. They have won twice. We have won 1 time against them. So again, a lot of people are feeling nervous, stressed, confident, whatever the case may be. But I kind of want to talk about the direction I think this game could go and what the Bulls are going to need to do to win this game. Now, I'm not going to look at it from a coach's perspective, because at the end of the day, the coaches, their X and O's, they should know much more than what a fan should, someone like me should. But at the end of the day, I still think that this game can go in multiple directions. And again, it goes a lot into the lineups and how the Bulls are going to approach this game. So I want to talk about what I feel like we're going to need to do as a Chicago Bulls team with the odds stacked against us over in Canada. What can we do to win this game against Toronto and become the first 10th seeded team to win a play-in game? Easier said than done, no matter what I really say. But again, this is what this video will be about. Before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show. Turn notifications on and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls and whether or not you believe we have a good chance to win in this play-in tournament game. I've expressed my own opinion. Again, I've given the percentage. I believe there is a 55% chance that the Toronto Raptors will win this game compared to the Bulls. I do not feel confident coming into this game, but I also am very well aware that we have beaten them before and we know what we can do when we play well and at our best. So again, I think it's anyone's game at this point, but I am leaning more towards Toronto because of the statistics and the history behind the play-in games and behind the regular season as well. But without further ado, what are the Chicago Bulls going to have to do to win this game? Well, let's be honest. We need to start talking about the starting lineup for the Chicago Bulls. Now, of course, the typical players you expect to be there will be there. Highly doubt that anybody but Patrick Beverley will be starting at the point guard spot. You got Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. Both of them will be there. Both of them will play. Nikola Vucevic, you assume, will be there. He will be playing as well. Our big three will be there. Patrick Beverley will be there. But the next spot, the power forward position, I guess you could say, or just the number 4 position, whatever the case may be, that spot will determine how the Chicago Bulls approach this game. You could go for Alex Caruso, stick with the smaller lineup, and you can see what happens in that area. Again, maybe using a lot of our perimeter defense to kind of push and also push the tempo with that team. Or you could go with Patrick Williams, match up with Toronto a little bit more. Hopefully the bigger bodies in there could allow us to have a little bit of an advantage. And again, just trying to make sure that we can match up with Toronto well, so we're not beaten in the areas we know we can be beaten at. So there's 2 options there. Now look, I'm going to have to make a guess here because I truly don't know which direction it will go. But I think Billy Donovan has known to not make big adjustments in games. Yes, there are some games he started Patrick Williams. I'm not denying that. But I think in this game he's going to start Alex Caruso if he is available and ready to play. So I think the Bulls lineup that you'll see is the normal Bulls lineup you tend to see since the post-All-Star break. Patrick Beverley, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Alex Caruso, and Nikola Vucevic. So we are going to go into this game, I personally believe, with our small ball lineup. And how can that work against us? How can that work well for us? Well, how can it work well for us? I think it's very clear. What makes our small ball lineup so good is that perimeter-wise, we're a very good perimeter defensive team. Now, Toronto, I don't necessarily classify as an amazing three-point team. I don't. I think they're streaky at best, and obviously the Bulls are not a great three-point shooting team either. I would consider us streaky, but we are one of the more, I guess, unreliant three-point shooting teams in the NBA. We don't rely on the three-point shot a lot, and we don't take a lot of them. Even if we do make a decent amount, it doesn't matter. Whatever the case may be, we are not a three-point shooting team. I would say Toronto is probably more of a three-point shooting team, but I wouldn't classify them as an amazing three-point shooting team either. So perimeter defense-wise, that could give us the upper hand. We might have to force Toronto off of the three-point line and try to attack us in the paint, which of course I don't think they're afraid to do. But that's how it works in our favor. Obviously, how it doesn't work in our favour is because Toronto is such a big team, from pretty much all positions, they will have the mismatches on the Chicago Bulls. So it's all about how Toronto can capitalise on those mismatches. Will it be more in the post? Will it be in pick and rolls? Will it be in attacking the paint? There are so many ways Toronto can attack this Bulls team if we go smaller. So we got to make sure that we are standing up tall, even in our small lineup, and hoping that we can fight back against them. I also think with our small ball lineup, you're looking at the 50-50 chances. You're looking at, I guess, the hustle plays of a team, and that's going to lean more towards Toronto's favour. For example, offensive rebounding. Big problem for the Chicago Bulls since the post-All-Star break. We versed Toronto in that post-All-Star break, and they're one of the teams that had massive amounts of second chance opportunities, transition points, as well as I guess, offensive rebounds and stuff like that. And that really hurt the Bulls in our last game against Toronto, and that's hurt the Bulls a lot when we have lost games post All-Star break, and just in general with the small ball lineup. We've seen it even with Derrick Jones Jr. in the team when we go small with our bench. It's the same thing. The offensive rebounding and just the small ball lineup, it hurts the Chicago Bulls as well. So that has to be, in my opinion, a key area. We always hear about the playoff game and the play-in games and how they're very much half-court basis. They're not necessarily running and gunning. There's not really much transition play. You have to focus on your half-court set offense and your half-court set defense. And that's okay. But at the end of the day, that means that the Bulls should not have three guards running out in transition while allowing Toronto and their bigs to go and grab offensive rebounds and second chance opportunities and stuff of that nature. This team is going to have the rebounding committee if we have any chance to win this game. We need to limit the amount of shots Toronto has. I've said it before and I'll say it again. A team that tends to have more shots than another team is the team that wins the game. Might not be a crazy amount, but it really is as simple as that. This is a professional basketball team that will make shots on you. So if you give them more shots and more attempts to get points on the board, they will beat the Chicago Bulls. So from Alex Caruso to Patrick Beverley to Zach LaVine to DeMar DeRozan to Vucevic himself, everybody from the starting lineup, the bench as well. Don't forget about the bench, the Andre Drummonds, the Patrick Williams, the Kobe Whites, the Ayo Dosunmus, whoever's playing on that bench as well. We are going to have to learn how to rebound in committee. Every rebound becomes vital. It becomes a necessity. You need to want it more than the other team. If you can show that level of fight, I give the Bulls a great chance to win this game, because that's where the biggest areas will be won or lost for the Bulls if we go small. Those 50-50 chances, those offensive rebounds. You can make that a balanced game. You're expecting the Bulls to hopefully have the key advantages in other areas. Like we have two prolific scorers on the team in Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. That will put a lot of pressure on those guys, and you give other guys opportunities to play well as well, because Toronto is going to play, in my opinion, an interesting way. I don't necessarily think they're going to double team Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan like they did in our first two games we versed them. Remember, the first game against Toronto where we lost, there was no Zach LaVine. They just swarmed DeMar DeRozan and forced other players to make shots. The other players didn't make shots. In the second game with Zach LaVine in the team, they tried that game plan and it didn't work for them. So I don't see them, alright, it's the playing game, go and double team DeMar DeRozan. Because at the end of the day, with Zach LaVine in the team, that becomes harder to do. And I don't think they will do that. But they're definitely going to put their bets and put their odds on the Bulls not making threes. So, for example, Patrick Beverley, Alex Caruso, you're assuming those two are the starters. They're going to prioritize everybody else except for those two. And they're going to bank that those two players will not be making their three-point shots. If it works out, great. Again, they're going to play the percentages, I think. And they are very, very good at protecting the paint. So it's not going to be a waltz in the streets to get into that paint and to get easy layups. It's going to be very difficult for the Bulls to do that. So the Bulls, in the next part, will have to make their threes. Again, we are not a three-point oriented team. We haven't been all season. We know that. We're well aware of that. In this type of game, depending on the lineup they play, I just think if the Bulls are going to have any chance to walk away with a win, they're going to have to at least make the threes that they take. I'm not saying shoot all threes, because again, it's not going to go in our favor if we do that. But the threes that we do take, even if it's a small amount of them, you need to make those threes. You need to put pressure on Toronto's defense. You need to expand them to the three-point line so you can go and attack the paint at will. You can go and attack their center and hopefully get into the free throw line and stuff like that. Toronto are going to make sure that that paint is well protected. But if you start hitting their threes, they'll have to make a decision. Either they keep on banking on us missing threes or making threes, or they're going to have to expand their defense a bit. And that's where we can attack them. But for Toronto, how I see this going, I see them being a lot more in the post. I see them being in the pick and roll. I see them being a team that obviously will shoot their threes as well. I don't think they're afraid to shoot threes. But I think they're going to attack the paint a lot more than the Chicago Bulls. I think they'll have more paint points than us by the end of the game. So again, it comes down to us, in my opinion, and how we approach offensively. Because defense upon defense, I think it cancels each other out. We'll be very good on the perimeter defense. They'll be very good in the paint defense. But if the Bulls approach this game stagnant offensively, they're going to focus on just allowing two players to shoot and they're not making shots. This could go very, very badly for us. But last and not least, the bench. The bench is going to be massive for the Chicago Bulls. The young guys that you expect to come in and make big impacts are going to have to make impacts. There is no chance the Bulls' young guys goes missing in this game. Or at least I hope there isn't a chance. There shouldn't be a chance. These guys are going to have to step up. And if they don't step up, again, you can't bank on just 5 players beating a Toronto Raptors team. So what does that go down to? Well, let's look at the bench that you probably expect to play. Coby White. Phenomenal end to the season. It can't stop now. In a one-game do-or-die situation, you cannot drop off your performances. The assists that you've been making, the shots that you've been taking and making as well, those things are going to have to continue. Now again, I'm not expecting 11 assists from Coby White and 24 points coming off of the bench. But I'm expecting maybe a 5-assist night alongside of 15 points or maybe 13 points. Just really being a 6th man that we need him to be. Patrick Williams. This cannot be a game where Patrick Williams gets 1 rebound. I'm going to say it like that. There are games where he gets 6 to 8. Other games he gets 0 to 1. In this game, with Toronto, you know they're going to crash the glass. You're going to have to crash with them. You're going to have to get some rebounds. You're going to have to make sure that you limit their second chance opportunities. Patrick Williams, I think, is going to have a massive role in the 3-point shooting and in the rebounding of this team. Doesn't matter if he's coming off the bench or not, he's going to do that. And Ayo, look, I'm not sure how he's going to approach this game, I'll be honest. Because again, it's not necessarily all transition, is it? You saw towards the regular season, especially towards the end, there are some games where Ayo can just waltz into the paint with his pace and he has a great way to finish his layups. In this type of game, in this type of environment, I think Ayo's going to have to make more of his threes, and I think Ayo's going to have to maybe take a little bit more of his mid-ranges, because I really think that's where we can attack Toronto, in the mid-ranges and from the 3-point line, if we can make our shots. The big question is if we make our shots. So again, all these things are very important. Andre Drummond as well, going to have to be very, very good on the rebounding side. Again, I don't necessarily think their bench is going to be massively big compared to if you play Drummond and Vucevic, starting Vucevic and benching Drummond. I think we'll have the size advantage a little bit more coming off of the bench from the center area. So maybe that could be, I guess, a mismatch we can go to. Maybe push Andre Drummond into the post or go more into pick and rolls and allow him to get some offensive rebounds himself. Stuff like that, but I'm not too sure. But again, all those guys are going to have to step up big time for the Chicago Bulls team. You're going to need a balanced effort in this game. But we'll have to wait and see. In my opinion, the big difference is, will we make our threes or not? I think that's the biggest takeaway. If we're missing our threes, I don't think we have a chance to win this game. But if we come into this game confident from the 3-point line, you know that Caruso and Patrick Beverley are going to be open the majority of the time. And if they're making their shots, I think we're going to give Toronto a very big question that they're going to have to answer. And that's where I think we can exploit them a little bit. But again, not confident coming into this game. I don't think anybody should be 100% confident. But again, I know a lot of people are more confident than me. I get that. But these are just some of the things that I think the Chicago Bulls are going to need to do in order to beat this Toronto Raptors team. We won't be perfect. I understand that. I'm expecting at least one of our big 3 players to struggle. And I'm banking on it being Vucevic, to be honest. But regardless of who it is, I'm banking on one of them to struggle in that game. But again, to sum it up, if we work on our 3-point shots and we actually start making them and knocking them down, if you have a team, even if it's small, that can fight for every rebound and work on those hustle plays and just make sure that that's not a big problem for us, then I think we have great chances to win this game. Defensively, I'm not concerned about our defense. I am concerned about the mismatches. I'm concerned about the small ball. But perimeter-wise, I think we will do well against Toronto. But it does come down to those areas, in my opinion. If we can make that a balanced game, or if we can even edge it out in the second chance opportunities, or offensive rebounding, or the three-point makes, then I think we're going to be in a good position. Where, no matter where we are, at home or away, we could be in a good position to win that game. But that's it. Hopefully, I did this video justice. Again, look, I'm no analyst or expert in the game. Again, I wouldn't even call myself a good basketball player in general, but I do watch the Bulls week in and week out, each game, every game. So you do pick up on some things that they do inconsistently, some things they can do well. And that's why I'm worried about this Toronto Raptors game, because I've seen them play the Toronto Raptors multiple times, and in every single game it's been very, very close, but you see the problems that we face every single time out. Those are the things we need to limit. And if we can do it, great. Then we could be in a good position. But we'll have to wait and see as the game comes. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you in the next Chicago Bulls video. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.